while we do that, Sandeep, Shastri, you're listening, and you're in Karnataka, which is going to be the battleground state. Are these issues that will play out, the alleged Modi-Adani nexus, Rahul Gandhi's disqualification, dynasty politics, Bhrashtachar, are any of these issues, in your view, resonating in Karnataka, the next big battleground state?
Rajdeep, all these issues are very critical. And as you said at the start of the discussion, I think what the Prime Minister today has done is the tone, the terms and the trajectory of the debate, not only for Karnataka but right up to the 2024 elections, has been laid. For me, Rajdeep, what has been happening both in the studio here and in the public debate is this perception battle on corruption. Both sides are trying to argue that we are fighting that battle. When today the government makes the stand that we are fighting against the Bhrashtachari Bachao Andolan, the government is trying to claim that we are at the forefront of the fight of corruption, and that's one way of taking attention away from the opposition's charge that nothing is being done by the government on the question of corruption. So on this whole question of corruption, like we have seen in previous elections, when an issue came up from one side, the other side tried to capture that issue from a different perspective, and you are seeing that happen in this election. Yes, corruption is an issue. It will be an issue in Karnataka. It will be an issue next year. And I think both sides are trying to develop a narrative as part of that perception to be able to influence their voters that yes, corruption is the issue, governance is the issue, and our perspective is the one which highlights the reality. So if you look at both sides, the debate is on a similar issue. It's like two sides of the coin.
Right.
The only thing is, which side of the coin does the ruling party want to focus on, which side of the coin does the opposition want to focus on, is what is becoming increasingly clear. And I think this election in Karnataka and next year's election across the country will be a critical battle of perceptions. As does the voter believe the perception perspective of the ruling party, or does it believe the perception perspective which is being put up by the opposition?
Right.
That, I think, is going to be the critical fight in Karnataka, in the North Indian states at the end of the year, and in the national politics next year.
I'll come to you as to who is winning this perception battle in a moment, but Supriya Shinit, before your line broke off, what I was raising, and Shehzad Poonawalla tried to make the point, claiming that the Congress party is a party of entitled dennis, is how the Prime Minister projected the Congress party today, that this is a party which is above the law, and because the Prime Minister claims that his government is acting against corruption, therefore the Congress is raising in a way issues to deflect public attention. How do you respond that the Congress will have to work with the baggage of the past if it is going to make corruption center stage? Every time you will raise Gautam Adani, they will say, well, Mr. Adani has business interests in Congress-ruled states, and they will go back into the past, and they will talk about misuse of institutions in the past. Is that a problem for the Congress to be able to win a battle on corruption?
I'm absolutely amused and a little disappointed with India's Prime Minister. You are the chosen democratic Prime Minister of this country. At least have the moral compass to say the right things. You are giving political patronage to a man who's saddled with charges of stock rigging, web of shell companies, Benami money flowing into India. You have ensured he has leading monopolies in ports, airports, renewable energy and the rest by changing rules despite opposition in writing from both the Finance Ministry and Niti Aayog. And you have the gumption to go there on stage and talk about who's shielding the corrupt. That's point number one. Point number 2, and a very important point I want to make here. Meghalaya elections, remember what the BJP said? Both Amit Shah, Narendra Modi ji, and of course Mr. JP Nadda. They said Meghalaya's government is the most corrupt. They will set up a special task force to probe into corruption charges. The elections are over and they're hand in glove with that government. They're back with their partners. Where is the action against corrupt? I would want to know that. In Karnataka, Santosh Patil, one of their own workers, wrote to the Prime Minister in writing that this is a 40% commission government. They are asking commission from me too. I cannot pay it and so I'm committing suicide. One of your own. The Contractors Association has written multiple letters to the Prime Minister highlighting the 40% commission issue. The Prime Minister doesn't speak a word. You run the most corrupt government anywhere in the world and you have the gumption to go on stage and talk against action on corruption. And I also want to make one very brief point
The
here.
dynasty
I
question,
usually never
the
get
dynasty,
into
the sense of
semantics things.
entitlement.
But here is the spokesperson. 1 second, Rajdeep. Rajdeep, 1 second. I will answer that question and I will answer that question. As far as the entitled is concerned, there are people in your government, if given a chance, the CBI, the ED and the DRAI should be arresting these people. Why do you shield them? Why do you not have cases anymore against a Hemanto Biswa Sarma or a Suvendu Adhikari or a Narayan Rane or a Yadurappa or a Reddy brothers? Why is there no case against Smriti Irani and for all the allegations that came to fore about what was happening with business interests that she has? What about Piyush Goyal and the cases against him? These are very important questions that will be raised. Entitlement comes at the cost of protecting Gautam Adani. It's as simple as that. I want to say something in the next 10 seconds and it needs to be said. I think I never get into semantics of one spokesperson or the other because they all come from the, they all cut from the same cloth. They are supposed to come here and lie through their teeth. But the more you lie and the more disrespectful you are and the more you call Mrs. Gandhi, Sonia Gandhi and Ashok Gehlot and Bhupesh Baghel, the better it is for us. Go on. Disrespect the Gandhis, disrespect elected leaders, disrespect chief ministers. The world should know that you are willing to leave no stone unturned to protect Gautam Adani, because the world knows that this whole image that was built of the Prime Minister is coming crumbling down. The world is today asking questions.
Gautam Adani, before I go to Shehzad, and trust me, I will give equal time. Before I go to Shehzad, I will ask you one more time. Ma'am, if Gautam Adani is so, no, 1 minute, ma'am. If Gautam Adani is so corrupt as your leader claimed, why is your government in Chhattisgarh and Rajasthan wooing him? These are Congress governments. My point is, if you all have decided that Adani equals corruption, then how do your state governments deal with the same individual?
Very valid question, and I'm glad you asked me that question. So all action against a certain individual will be taken by the two state governments that we have. All action in the Supreme Court, which is not looking into the Adani scam, but actually looking at the review of regulatory framework. Details should be furnished by us. The elected government of the day, with governments in 16 states now, is just going to sit there pretty and keep being a cheerleader of Prime Minister Modi as he keeps protecting Adani. Is that what you're essentially saying here? Because the businesses that Adani has, whether in Chhattisgarh or Rajasthan, were won by tendering process. He was the L1 bidder. There was a transparent process. Nobody was barred from entering. We did not send ED to houses of people or put them in the NCLT and then coerce them into selling their businesses to Adani.
Okay.